Hey everybody, welcome to Jake's Gaming Corner. And I've been trying to rack my brain the last few hours and trying to just think about what I wanted to do for this video. And if you follow me on Instagram, then you'll have seen one of my last posts, not my last post, but one of my more recent posts about Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, and that being my favorite game. So I just want to kind of dive into that a little bit in this video and kind of break down the game a little bit. I'm not going to get into the game too much because it is a very long game, very complex, and I could sit here and talk about that game for hours. So I'm going to try to make this not too long and just run over a few of the points throughout the game, why the game means so much to me, and why the series Metal Gear Solid means so much to me. So we're going to go ahead and start with when I was introduced, and I would say I think I was probably 12 or 13 when I was introduced in the Metal Gear Solid series, and the game that introduced me was Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. I got that for Christmas with a PlayStation 2, and it was, I couldn't even tell you what year it was what year it was. I am 24 now, it's 2020. I'd say it was probably 10 or 11 years ago, so you do the math there. Puts probably around 2009, 2008. So that's when I got my first PlayStation 2, so if that lets you know how far behind on gaming I was up until that point, because up until the point that I got a PlayStation 2, the only gaming systems I had were the Sega Genesis, a Nintendo 64, the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, and I think that's it. Oh, I did have a PlayStation 1 as well. I had a PlayStation 1, just did not have very many games for it, was more of a Nintendo kid. So when I got the PlayStation 2 for Christmas, I got 2 games with it, and I think it was Madden 04, 05, and Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty. And I never was much of a sports gaming guy, I'm still not, so I didn't even mess with the Madden, and for a while there. I went straight into Metal Gear and absolutely fell in love with the game, and later on fell in love with the series the more I got into it and the more of the games that I played. The game starts out with you playing as the iconic Solid Snake, and it takes place in 2007, 2 years after the events of Shadow Moses, which I didn't know at the time, but I come to find out later on when I did eventually play the game, were the events of the first Metal Gear Solid game, not the very first, but the first on the PlayStation 1, the first 3D Metal Gear Solid. So that's when the tanker that's where you start out in the beginning of the game is on the tanker as Solid Snake in 2007, and Snake is on this tanker doing an investigation on, it's a U.S. Marines Corps tanker, and he's doing an investigation into the development of the newest Metal Gear, and this Metal Gear turns out to be Metal Gear Ray, and as soon, almost not even a few minutes after Snake gets onto the tanker itself, the tanker is taken over by Russians, and all of the Marines on above board are killed. And so Snake has to sneak his way through a group of Russians, which he finds out are led by Colonel Gorlukovich, and he is teamed up with Ocelot, which I didn't know then, but I know now, and and most everybody knows. Ocelot is he was one of the main antagonists of the first Metal Gear Solid with Snake's twin brother Liquid Snake. And in that game, in the first game, Ocelot loses his arm, and then Liquid dies at the end of that game. So when Ocelot shows up in this game, he's got both of his arms. And you find out later on that the arm that he lost, I'm pretty sure it's his left arm, is Liquid's left arm. He cut Liquid's arm off after he died and put it on and used it himself. So Snake does his Snake thing and battles his way through the tanker, comes in contact with Gorlukovich's daughter, Olga Gorlukovich, has a small battle with her there, leaves her tranquilized because he hears that she's pregnant or something. I'm not exactly sure. Cannot exactly remember how that goes down, but he does not kill Olga, which comes to save him later on in the future. So he does not kill Olga. makes his way all the way through the bottom of the tanker, has a gun battle with a bunch of the Russian terrorists, makes his way through the hull, but after the right after the battle, a cutscene ensues, and it shows Ocelot for the very first time in the game walking up, and he is talking to Gurlukovich, or I'm pretty sure he's talking to Gurlukovich or one of Gurlukovich's men on the radio, and you can tell they're teamed up together, buddy buddy, and as soon as he ends that radio call, he shoots one of Gurlukovich's soldiers in the head and kills him. So right there, that shows you Ocelot betrays Gurlukovich. And then so Snake makes his way to the bottom of the tanker and gets into the hold, and he's got to sneak his way past all of the Marines that are down there watching Colonel Randolph or Rudolph, cannot remember the colonel's name right now, the military colonel who is leading up the Metal Gear Ray project. He is giving his men a speech, so Snake has to sneak his way through 3 holds to get to the very end where the colonel is giving a speech in front of Metal Gear Ray. Snake has to take a few pictures of Metal Gear Ray, upload them to Ocelot so that they have proof that Metal Gear Ray is in fact already created and getting ready to be used, essentially. Almost as soon as Snake uploads the pictures, the colonel's speech comes to an end, and you start to hear a slow clapping and walking, and Ocelot walks into frame, and that he essentially tells the colonel he's taking back Metal Gear Ray, which Metal Gear Ray was never his, and his voice starts to change a little bit, and Snake starts to kind of wonder, like, it hits him, it kind of sounds like his brother Liquid. So Gurlukovich comes in. I'm sorry, I'm messing this all up. I'm not messing it up, I'm just running it all together, just because I'm not trying to make this super long. Long story short, Gurlukovich confronts Ocelot. What are you doing? We're supposed to be a team. Ocelot kills Gurlukovich and the colonel for the U.S. Marines. Has a confrontation with Snake. Snake realizes that Ocelot has Liquid's left arm, and Liquid is living through that arm through Ocelot. And Liquid Ocelot steals Metal Gear Ray and blows up the tanker that they are in. And that is where the first part of the game ends, which would be the tanker mission. And the main part of the game actually takes place, because you find out that that mission was actually 2 years in the past for the rest of the game. So that leaves us at the Big Shell plant, the Big Shell. And this takes place 2 years after the tanker, and you start in swimming in a suit, and you cannot see your character, but his voice is definitely not Solid Snake, even though he's being called Solid Snake. And then he is told that his code name has to be changed due to the terrorist leader, because he's there, Raiden, which he finds out his name is Raiden, is there to rescue the president, who was being taken hostage from another terrorist organization, because they come to find out that they want the new Metal Gear. And so the president is being held hostage. Raiden is to infiltrate the Big Shell and rescue the president. Long story short with this, because this is a lot longer than the tanker, and I really could sit here and tell you everything, so I'm just going to try to summarize everything. You get onto the Big Shell, you make contact with Pliskin, who turns out to be Solid Snake. You and Solid Snake, Pliskin, disarm a handful of bombs throughout the Big Shell. You meet a guy named Stillman. You come in contact with a mysterious ninja that is wearing the same ninja suit as Gray Fox from Metal Gear Solid, and his name is Mr. X, who turns out to be Olga Gurlukovich from the plant, and she is there to help you because she had a daughter who was taken by the Patriots, who are an elite secret group of men who essentially run the country. And man, I'm confusing myself right now, so if you're listening to this, I'm sure you're confused a little bit. I'm not confused, I'm just trying to figure out what I've said and what I have not. So Olga helps you as the cyborg. Turns out Olga and Snake have been working together and to help get Olga her daughter back. The leader of this new terrorist organization is Solid as Snake, who turns out to be Solid Snake's and Liquid Snake's other brother, and Raiden's foster father, who he raised Raiden as a young boy and essentially turned him into the killer child soldier he is today. Well, he's not a child soldier, but he was a child soldier when he met Raiden, and he made him a violent soldier. He made him a natural born killer, I guess, is what, if you want to call it. I mean, he literally calls him Jack the Ripper. So, if that tells you anything. So, the big shell turns out to be a cover-up for the new Metal Gear, which turns out is called Arsenal Gear, and it houses tons of Metal Gear rays, and itself is capable, I think, of launching a nuclear warhead or something Metal Gear-y related. So, I mean, I know I kind of just butchered the whole game. The game ends with you killing Solid as Snake as Raiden, and you and Snake talking about the future, and Snake telling you that he is not done with his mission and he's got to continue it and essentially just keep on fighting the good fight. So, I know I've just butchered all that, but if you've actually played the game, you know how great of a game it is. I didn't want to sit here and give a full summary of the whole game, so I just kind of wanted to breeze over, like, essentially the main story points of the game. Sorry, my camera stopped recording. It is an amazing game. It introduced a lot of new mechanics in the Metal Gear series that I think stuck through the rest of the series. And that maybe not a lot, but it did introduce a few new things to the series that did stick around throughout. And I mean, it's just a great game to play through. It has an amazing story. It pulls you in. It gets you involved in the characters. And I mean, it was the first game that I played that, I mean, I was always a little gamer when I was a kid, but it's what really got me into gaming, and why I am still so into gaming is because of the Metal Gear series. They come out with one great game after another, after another, after another. But unfortunately, it is sad to say that the series has ended due to Hideo Kojima and Konami's split. They had kind of a bad split there, so they did come out with one more game after that, Metal Gear Survive. Never played it, probably will not, because everything I've heard and seen about it just destroys the whole franchise itself, which I've come to love over the years. So I just don't want to let it go out on a bad note like that, so I probably will never play Metal Gear Survive. But this is definitely my all-time favorite game series. I know if you do know me, you know that I really love Zelda as well. I don't talk about Metal Gear near probably as much as I have Zelda in the past, if you do know me. Or not in the past, but whatever. But Metal Gear takes the cake at 100%. Zelda, yes, it is an amazing game series. The Legend of Zelda, not very much competes with that. But it is the best. The Legend of Zelda is the best game in its own genre, compared to where Metal Gear is the best in its own. Like, they both are phenomenal game series, but me personally, Metal Gear is my number one. It has been for a long time, and it probably will stay that way for a long time. I can't say forever because, like I mentioned, the Legend of Zelda, not the Legend of Zelda, the Metal Gear Solid series has come to an end, but the Legend of Zelda series has not, and the Breath of the Wild 2 is supposed to be coming out maybe this year. Hopefully, if not this year, definitely next year. We are still waiting on more information about that. So there's still time for Zelda to definitely take number one, but Metal Gear is what got me into gaming like I am into gaming today, and for that, nothing compares. So I hope you guys enjoyed I guess it's kind of a rant about Metal Gear Solid, and because I definitely enjoyed talking about it. I know it's probably not the most informal or informational. Sorry, I cannot talk tonight. I know it's probably not the most informational video about Metal Gear Solid, but it will kind of give you an insight on how I feel about the game and hopefully let you know a little bit more about me. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Please hit the like button. It will definitely help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And until next time, guys, thanks for visiting Jake's Gaming Corner. We'll see you later.